Hello, and welcome to the Daring to Succeed podcast. I'm your host, Julianna Yao Jorgen, and today I wanted to talk about the possibility of unintended fallout from making a decision for the wrong reason. A few episodes ago, we talked about why inaction is sometimes so hard, even when the decision is clear. After that, I was presented with a different question. Does it matter what the reason for a decision is if the decision itself is the same? In some of the conversations I've been having with my clients, the answer to that became pretty obvious. The first that was most stark was a client who recently turned down a promotion. Even though she had been working towards a promotion for a long time, when she thought about the opportunity carefully, it wasn't really as great for her as they were trying to make it seem. When we talked about it, she initially claimed things like there wasn't a career path that was clear towards her goals, or she had concerns about the leadership team, and all sorts of different reasons why it was making her stomach turn just thinking about it. We had started by looking at all of those reasons one by one. For example, we ended up disproving that there wasn't a progression path by tracing what that role could lead to. We also worked on unraveling her protective brain's concerns about the leadership team. Although her concerns were valid, changes to the team were also a possibility and would cancel out that concern. When we kept unraveling the different layers of the reasons why she was turning down the promotion, she finally sighed and said, "I just really don't want to do the work." Then outlined exactly why she didn't want to do the work, why it was misaligned with her career trajectory, and she went on to describe what she did want to do, promotion or not. Not only did I notice a noticeable shift in her enthusiasm when she started talking about her ideal work, but that was the true reason she was turning down the promotion. Not because she thought it was a dead-end job, even though it might be. Not because of her concerns with leadership, because who knows how long they'd be there for. But it was simply that she didn't like the work that was involved with that role compared to the other roles she was considering. Some people might argue that it doesn't really matter the real reason if she decided to turn it down anyway. But I think, and especially because she is in a period of career change, the reason matters. If she let the decision settle to no promotion path, she may unintentionally decide to take another role later just because of the promise of progression, even though the work isn't what she wanted to do. Or she might even end up declining a job that is exactly the role that she wants, just because she's a little bit worried about a leadership team that might change in the future anyway. But in her case, clarity of her real reason for why she's turning down the role really did matter. Another decision where it was clear that the reason did matter was interesting because I was working with a leadership team on a board of directors to help them with transitioning from an outgoing chair to the new board members. Although the chair had already formally stepped down, she was still lightly involved in some decisions as part of her offboarding plan, just to ensure that there was some consistency as they transitioned to the new board members. This particular decision was around the interpretation of a governmental rule that applied to their organization. One of the new board members argued for an interpretation of that rule because of the type of meeting they were having and the scope of that meeting. The outgoing board member was arguing that it was a better safe than sorry situation, where the effort to maintain a past decision on the matter was low enough that the decision shouldn't have to be re-adjudicated. The interesting thing is they both interpreted the rule with the same outcome, but because their rationale to get there was so different, it was important for them to sort out which was the real reason that carried weight for that decision. Because although both reasonings were valid, it was too easy for them to slip into the wrong direction for future interpretations of that rule or other ones if they didn't get it right this first time. The work I did with that team was less about honesty with themselves about the decision, because everybody agreed that both reasons were valid. but making sure that the reason for interpreting that rule was grounded properly to help guide future decisions. When I look at both of these examples and similar situations where we could get to the same outcome, the same decision, but through different paths, the reason does matter, both for the integrity of the decision and the consistency of it moving forward. Because if you make a decision and use the wrong reason as your new guiding star for future decisions, you might end up down the wrong path. And if the real reason isn't clear in your mind, well, that's where contradictory decisions start popping up and things start feeling convoluted. Whether it's for your team trying to look to your decisions to guide theirs, or just for yourself as you're navigating through an ever-changing environment. Okay, that's it for now. I'll see you next time.